Xi's new Communist Manifesto, and it's going to affect you, I'm telling you, and you better be careful how you're projecting your future investment returns, because I want to share how this has come from the Asian Times. I'll let you guys read this. I'll link to his show notes, but man, I want to read to you where I got this article from my man Vox Day at voxday.net. It is vital to accept that one can no more understand the current and future actions of the Chinese Communist Party while ignoring Xi Jinping's thought than one could have comprehended the development of China since 1978, while attempting to ignore the Dengist revisionism that's completely transferred both China as well as the global order. So China seems like is embarking on a role, if you read this more, of just retrograding. Just kind of like it just seems like their ambition is not to be the cheap labor anymore, the cheap products. Look, I'm just reading into this so I can tell. What I mean by that is it's 1978. What else happened in 1978? So let's check this out. Pope John Paul, 1978. All right. When was Margaret Thatcher? Thatcher elected prime minister. I think it was 78 as well. Let's check out old Maggie. All right. Margaret Thatcher, 1979. All right. Reagan was 1980. Deng. Oh, right there. See when he was elected or whatever, nominated, 1978. Do you see what's happening? 1978. Communist parties of the world were on the march until Pope John Paul, until Margaret Thatcher, Ronald Reagan, and Deng. Because to be rich is to be glorified, or whatever he said. Now, he's still a commie. Tiananmen Square still happened under him, but still, that was a revolutionary of 40 years of just unseen growth all over the world. I was talking to a guy the other day, and I'm not going to say what business he is, but they outsource a lot of their crap overseas that gets built, created over there, and then it has to come back in here for him to inspect every single thing. Because they say it's overseas, but if people use this product and it's bad, we're going to get sued. So we got to make sure we don't just look at one every 100 products. They got to look at them all because it could be bad. But the issue is at the end of the day, we've been using cheap labor, international trade, just-in-time inventory and all that because the last 40 years it's just been explosive of debt, credit, debt, and markets too. I mean, I grant you. Now, we don't have Reagan. We don't have freaking Margaret Thatcher. We don't have Pope John Paul. We don't have Deng. We got Xi Jinping, who's going to bring it just seems like they're looking at, look, they got the Belt and Road. I get that. It's not like they're not trying to expand, but they're trying to make trade, not war, is what is one of the sayings there. That sounds good in theory, but trade, not war under China's, they're just not going to be the way it was with cheap labor, for cheap goods, for huge profits, for leveraging, where you can go back to the bottom line and have increasing ROI, return on investment, with growing earnings and all that, financed by debt and trade and cheap labor. The four titans of the world, those four right there. I mean, now we got freaking Boris Johnson, Joe Biden, Pope Francis, and then we got a guy who's saying, I don't want to be rich to be glorified to be rich, like my predecessor says. We're going to be commies. It's not going to be Maoist, but it's going to be it looks like a middle of the road between Deng and Mao, which isn't growth. I'm telling you, man. So check this out right here. The dynamic results in trade, if the mounting problems of the current Chinese economic model result in material slowing of growth over even sustained recession, this would have substantial impact on the United States and its allies. First, given that the PRC, the People's Republic of China, is the second largest economy in the world and has been the engine of growth for economies in Europe and the rest of Asia and even the United States for decades. Because growth has immense political salience in the PRC, it justifies the authoritarian system of governance. A significant slowdown could lead to a political instability. Given Chinese nationalistic rhetoric and ambitions towards Taiwan, political instability can in turn motivate risky. I'm not so worried about the military stuff. I'm worried. I mean, I am, but I'm most worried about the lack of earnings growth because we've been so relying on cheap trade, cheap products made overseas. I'm telling you, man, and these days are gone. We had the four-headed monster, Margaret Thatcher, Pope John Paul II, and Ronald Reagan, smashing the communist state, allowing for trade, allowing for debt explosion. We leverage buyouts, things like this. Those you still got LBOs. I grant you. You still have debt financing. I mean, you still have leverage. Don't get me wrong, but the days of growth under Clinton, Tony Blair, Reagan, Bush, John Major, Margaret Thatcher, the days, we're talking Democrats, Labor, you name it, are just gone, man. The days of growth under Deng, the days of, just freedom on the march under Pope John Paul. Pope Francis is a freaking Marxist. There is no moral imperative anymore for freedom. Now it's a moral imperative to fight climate change, to get yourself jabbed, and this is nuts. Anyway, so I'm just sitting there thinking, this is why you better not expect huge rates of return. I mean, look, if you get it, that's great. I could be wrong. I'm not saying get out. I'm in the market. But this is why you better not run software that has 10 to 12% market returns. It doesn't make sense. Again, if I'm wrong and you're predicting 5 to 6%, if I'm wrong, you're golden. But man, if I'm right and you're predicting 10 to 12% rates of return and you're taking on debt because you can do better in the market, I think that's a horrible mistake because of what is happening in front of your very eyes. Cheap goods, easy inventories, just-in-time inventory, easy trade, under the moral imperative of freedom and a free economy. Those days are gone. Mercantilism is back, baby, and that's not good for growth from the equity markets. I'll tell you that right now. And by the way, we're already tapped out debt-wise. And we're literally not tapped out. We can print whatever we want, but you know what I'm saying. Back then, there wasn't much debt. Now there's a whole lot more. Be prepared, man. I'm telling you. All right, would love to hear your thoughts. We'll see you.